Core in this video. .NET Core is probably the biggest change .NET programming language has encountered. In 2002, Microsoft introduced web forms, and that was a revolution at that time. But web forms had its own drawbacks, and there was a need to overcome all of them. Because of that, the .NET team came up with a new architecture, which was .NET MVC. Now, even though I love MVC and I have built many applications using MVC, it had its own flaws. Like it was created on top of the components of web forms. Because of that, it was tightly tied to IIS and ultimately Windows operating system. But with evolution of development, Microsoft had to keep up with the changing technology. As a result of that, in June of 2016, Microsoft released ASP.NET Core, and it was the first version of .NET that was built on top of this new .NET Core framework. This .NET Core platform has been completely rewritten, and it is a cross-platform version. Because of that, it is not tied to Windows operating system. Now, since .NET Core was rewritten, it was written with cloud architecture in mind, and because of that, it is extremely robust. Then in August of 2018, Microsoft released the next version of .NET Core, which is .NET Core 2.0, and after that the team has been very active in releasing new versions of .NET Core. Lately they have finalized that in November each year they will release the new version with new features. So in November 2022, .NET Core 7 was released, and .NET Core 8 will be released in November of 2023. Now, even though the final version of .NET 8 will be released in 2023, we can use the preview version of .NET 8 using Visual Studio Preview. So the preview version is out there, and that is what we will be using in this course. That is a small overview of the .NET framework and its evolution. Now that being said, why should you even learn .NET Core, and what are the advantages that .NET Core brings to the table when you compare the classic .NET language? The list is quite extensive. First one is that .NET Core is fast and open source. If you compare that with traditional .NET applications, there have been quite a few benchmarks, and .NET Core is very fast when you compare that to web forms or even .NET MVC. Then .NET Core is cross-platform. The classic .NET was tied to IIS and Windows, but since .NET Core is rewritten, it has removed that dependency with .NET Core. And with .NET Core, we have a built-in dependency injection. Dependency injection is super great when you will move along with the course, and by the time you finish the course, if you work with .NET Core, you cannot imagine yourself going back to the code where there is no dependency injection. It saves a lot of time, and it is extremely efficient in managing all the dependencies. With any programming language, it is critical that new updates or new versions that are released, they should be easily upgradable. And that is one of the great features with .NET Core. The updates have typically been very smooth. And because of that, you can always keep up with the new version. .NET Core is also cloud-friendly. As we move along with the development, more and more companies are leaning heavily towards cloud development, and .NET Core has been built with cloud architecture in mind. So that is why it is very flexible when we have to integrate .NET Core with the cloud technologies. Lastly, when it comes to performance, .NET Core exceeds all the previous version, and even the new versions that are released in .NET Core, they supersede the previous version. Microsoft has invested a lot in .NET Core. That gives us a clear idea that Microsoft has a long-term plan with this technology. So with that brief overview, let me continue from the next video.